USA Soapbox Man, segment 3 continued. 20 January 2011, scene 2, take -02. Agenda, banks, bailout, advertise, TV promo. Action. Okay, we're going to get into our agenda part of our program. As I indicated, it will be about banks, the bailout of the banks from our United States government, their methods of advertising, and their ethics of operation towards the American consumer. Okay, if you will notice behind me on the board, this is a basic generality of our layout for the day. What I'll do is I'll proceed up here to zoom in on it so you can get a pretty good idea of what we're talking about here. Okay, that's the overall big picture of the my template for the day. Get my equipment out of the way here. Okay, so basically what we're talking about is we're looking at, obviously this is a building cartoon version of an older bank prior to the bailouts. Okay, we got bailout segment, and now we're moving to the new layout of the banks as they exist at the moment. Okay, first we're going to talk a little bit about the old banks. Okay, let me go ahead and zoom in here even tighter so that we can individually break down this stuff. Okay, got inside of a bank there, couple tellers, couple customers with the counter. And of course the name of the bank is whatever. Okay, understanding that as we have all experienced, banks change names, change ownership constantly. Big fish buying out the little fish. Okay, name changes and takeovers. Okay, my point here is that, okay, these banks, if you'll notice on the wall behind the counter, behind the tellers, we've got signage up on the walls that are basically printed work, banners, etc., that are done by most likely local printing companies and the like. Okay, all right. And like I say, I've got written down here, you know, the typical bank fees and charges and penalties. Understand something here, folks. Banks are basically lawyers, and lawyers are basically banks. Okay, with a little bit of thought here, you can certainly substitute banks for politicians and insurance companies. Basically the same thing. Okay, all these banks are high-priced lawyers. Okay, all right. Now that we've talked about, this. Okay, let me just elaborate a little bit here. Okay. All right. These banners that are behind these tellers. Okay, they could be on the walls in the branch. They could be on the windows. Obviously, they have paper paraphernalia that they give you that are in the banks, and it also gets mailed to you. Comes in your statements, etc. Okay, these banks can be locally, a local bank that's just within your area, or a much broader by the state or interstates, local states surround you. But anyway, these advertisements, okay, those are generated by local established businesses that do the printing and so forth. Okay, these banks, obviously, like any other business, have an advertising budget. Okay, promotional and advertising budget that they adhere to, and they decide what they're going to use their funds for to advertise with. It can be television commercials, can be banners of the such. Okay, now with that said, okay, approximately a year or so ago, don't have my dates exact, but we, the American people, okay, we helped bail those banks out. Okay, may not have been a particular bank of yours, okay, and it may not be a particular bank that I've generated this segment about, but we as Americans, we look at this as a whole. Just like a lot of things. When we watch the news and listen to the news and we hear of economic crisis here or there or wherever, we tend to look at that as a whole, as our entire country. It affects all of us in some way. Okay? Now, we take the bailouts into consideration. Now we move over here to the new bank. Let me zoom out a little bit so you can see my new at the bottom of that. Basically, it's the same branch, same location. Okay, same location. It's got a new name. All right. Okay, we've got, could be the same customers. Okay, the tellers are there. They just, I don't know, I forgot to put them in there, but they're there. They're under the counter or they're out to lunch or something. But anyway, customers are the same. All right. Now, understand here that look in the center of that picture, we've got a television set. Wow. The banner, we've got a banner here, we've got a banner over here, that printed merchandise or printed paraphernalia that our local businesses generated. Could be, throughout the Midwest. It may not be locally generated, because if it's a big bank, a big company, they make them abroad or throughout the country and distribute them accordingly. But anyway, in the center, we now have a television set to do their advertising. This is like a scrolling marquee, okay, that's got advertising on it for the bank and etc. Okay, and of course the customer is right there saying nice television set. Okay, this is where the issue to me comes into play here. Okay, all right, it's okay, it's like, wow, it's bad enough that this bank, this branch, okay, has all their computers, all their machines, all their technology, okay, that's probably not American made. All right, it could be American made, maybe not. But the television is just a little bit over the top, okay, because let me just slide this over a little bit here, okay. All right, this television we're talking about, all right, this guy right there, okay, all right. Now, I don't know if you folks have been out looking at televisions lately, but historically, televisions are manufactured, sold, etc., in basically like a tier system. If it may not be exactly called that, but I call it that. Okay, you've got two to four brands of televisions that are in the top tier, and we're going to have a segment on this. Okay, we're going to have a segment on televisions specifically, because that really, to me, sets it over the top. All right, televisions. We have a tier system of televisions. Okay, and we have top of the line televisions. There's, say, 2 to 4 brands. Usually, a couple of those brands stay at the top for years and years, 5 years, etc., whatever. Okay, then we have a second tier of televisions that are, say, middle of the road. Then we have a lower tier of televisions. Okay, and if you've done any television shopping in the last few years, I mean, this is the same logic that was used 25, 30 years ago when you bought a television set. Okay, all right. This television that's in this bank, that are on, at least they're in all the branches that I go to do my banking. Okay, these televisions are the top tier television that's on the market today. Okay, rated by all the consumers to be top of the line, rated to be top of the line by all the experts. Okay, when you go to a vendor, a store, to look at these televisions, all the salespeople, they all tell you they are the top of the line. Okay, the repair people say they're the top of the line. They have the best track record. And they are also the most expensive. The most expensive of any of the televisions. Any of the televisions